She said love should feel effortless and that I was trying too hard. I agreed without pushing back, took a step away, and let things be. Time answered her question when stability disappeared along with someone willing to care deeply. You're trying too hard, she said, not even looking up from her phone. If you have to work this hard at it, maybe we're just not meant to be. I stopped mid-sentence. The dinner reservation confirmation still pulled up on my laptop screen. The words hit differently than her usual complaints. This wasn't about me forgetting something or messing up. This was about me caring too much. I looked at Rachel across our living room, her legs tucked under her on the couch, scrolling through whatever feed had her attention. 3 years together. 2 years living together. And apparently, I'd been doing it wrong the whole time. Okay, I said. She glanced up, eyebrow raised. Okay, what? You're right, I told her. I'll stop trying so hard. I expected pushback, an argument, maybe even her telling me I was being dramatic. Instead, she just nodded and went back to her phone. Good. Love should feel natural, you know? Effortless. I closed my laptop. That night, I didn't mention the reservation I'd canceled. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 29, work as a project manager for a tech consulting firm. Rachel's 27, does social media marketing for a wellness brand. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party and clicked immediately, or so I thought. The first year was easy. Everything felt effortless back then. But somewhere along the way, I'd started doing more. Planning dates, remembering important things, making sure we had quality time together. Apparently, that was the problem. The next morning, I didn't make coffee for both of us like usual. I made my cup, drank it, and left for work. Rachel wandered into the kitchen 20 minutes later, saw the empty coffee maker, and frowned. You didn't make extra? Didn't want to try too hard, I said, grabbing my keys. She laughed, but it sounded uncertain. I didn't mean stuff like that. What did you mean then? Rachel waved her hand vaguely. You know, the constant planning, the need to always be doing something together, the way you make everything into this big production. Got it, I said. See you tonight. I left before she could respond. At work, my phone stayed silent. Usually, Rachel and I texted throughout the day. Nothing major, just check-ins, funny observations, the kind of constant low-level communication that I thought kept us connected. But if that was trying too hard, I'd stop. My coworker Danny noticed during our afternoon meeting. You good? You seem off. Just thinking, I said. Relationship stuff? Danny had been married for 5 years. Always gave solid advice. Rachel says I try too hard. That love should be effortless. He leaned back in his chair, considering. Effortless like it doesn't take work, or effortless like it feels natural? I don't know. Both. Because those are different things, Danny said. Natural effort exists. My wife and I work at our marriage every day, but it doesn't feel like work because we want to do it. Rachel seems to think I'm forcing something that isn't there. Are you? I thought about it. I don't think so. I just like making her happy. Danny nodded slowly. So stop. See what happens. That became my approach. I stopped planning weekend activities. Stopped suggesting new restaurants or booking shows. Stopped initiating most conversations. The first week, Rachel didn't seem to notice. She came home from work. We existed in the same space. Ate dinner separately or together depending on timing. Watched TV on our respective devices. Week 2, she started asking questions. Are we doing anything this weekend? I looked up from my book. Did you have something in mind? Not really. Just thought maybe we could do something. If you want to plan something, go ahead, I said. She frowned. You're being weird. I'm being effortless, I corrected. Isn't that what you wanted? Rachel's expression shifted, something between annoyance and confusion. Don't be petty. I'm not. You said I try too hard, so I'm trying less. Seems pretty straightforward. She went back to her phone without responding. The weekend came and went. We stayed home. Rachel scrolled through her phone, complained about being bored, but never actually suggested we do anything. I worked on a hobby project I'd been neglecting, refinishing an old bookshelf I'd picked up at an estate sale. Sunday evening, Rachel finally broke. This is ridiculous. I looked up from sanding the bookshelf. What is this? You. Whatever game you're playing. Not playing a game, I said calmly. You told me love should feel effortless. I'm letting it be effortless. That's not what I meant, and you know it. I set down the sandpaper. Then what did you mean, Rachel? Because I genuinely don't understand. For 3 years, I've put effort into this relationship. I plan things because I want us to have experiences together. I remember details because I care. I check in because I like staying connected. And apparently, all of that is trying too hard. She crossed her arms. You make me feel like I'm not doing enough. There it was. The real issue. I've never said that. I told her. You don't have to say it. When you're constantly doing all this stuff, it makes it obvious that I'm not. So instead of matching the effort, you want me to stop putting it in? I want things to feel balanced, Rachel said. Natural. Like we're both just existing together without all this pressure. Okay, I said again. I went back to sanding. She stood there for another minute, then walked away. The shift became more pronounced over the following weeks. Our apartment, usually well-maintained because I stayed on top of things, started looking lived in. Dishes piled up because I only washed mine. Groceries ran out because I only bought what I needed. Bills still got paid because they were on autopay, but I stopped reminding Rachel about her share of utilities. She noticed when her phone service got suspended for non-payment. Why didn't you remind me? She demanded, standing in the kitchen doorway while I made dinner. Just for myself. 1 chicken breast, some roasted vegetables. Since when do you need reminders to pay your bills? I asked, not looking up. You usually tell me when stuff is due. That sounds like trying too hard. Rachel's jaw tightened. You're being an asshole. I'm being exactly what you asked for, I said calmly. Effortless. Natural. Not trying. She stormed off. I ate my dinner in peace. That night, she came into the bedroom while I was reading. We need to talk. I set down my book. Okay. Rachel sat on the edge of the bed, not looking at me. I don't like how things are right now. What specifically don't you like? Everything feels cold, distant, like we're roommates, not partners. I considered that. And what would make it feel different? She finally looked at me. You caring would help. I do care, I said. I just stopped showing it in ways that apparently bothered you. I never said it bothered me. You said I was trying too hard. That if it took this much work, maybe we weren't meant to be. Those were your exact words, Rachel. She looked away again. I was frustrated. About what? I don't know. Everything. Work stress. My friends kept posting about their perfect relationships and fancy dates, and I felt like our relationship was too much work. So you took it out on me. I guess. The admission hung there. Here's the thing, I said, sitting up. I don't think you actually want effortless. I think you want someone to put in effort while you don't have to. You want the benefits of having a partner who cares without the responsibility of reciprocating. Rachel's face flushed. That's not fair, isn't it? When's the last time you planned a date? Remembered something important to me without me mentioning it first? Initiated a conversation about us, about our future, about anything deeper than what we're watching on TV. She opened her mouth, closed it. I'm busy. So am I said. But I made time. I made effort. And you called it trying too hard. I didn't realize you'd just stop everything. What did you think would happen? Rachel stood up, pacing now. I thought you'd relax a little. Not turn into a completely different person. I'm the same person, I told her. I'm just not doing the work for both of us anymore. She left the room. The next few days were tense. Rachel tried, in her way, to fix things. She suggested we order takeout together. Watch a movie. Go for a walk. Small things. Easy things. Things that required minimal effort from her. I agreed to all of it, but I didn't add anything. Didn't suggest where to order from or what movie to watch. Didn't plan the walk route or bring up conversation topics. I just existed alongside her. Effortlessly. By the end of the week, she was frustrated again. Why won't you just go back to normal? She asked after another silent dinner. This is normal now, I said. This is what you asked for. No, it's not. You're punishing me. I shook my head. I'm protecting myself. You told me my effort was too much. That it meant we might not be compatible. So I stopped putting myself out there. Stopped making myself vulnerable by caring more than you do. Rachel's eyes widened slightly. You think I don't care? I think you care about having a boyfriend, I said carefully. I'm less sure you care about having me specifically. The words clearly hurt her. Good. Maybe she needed to hurt a little to understand. That's not true, she said quietly. Then show me, I challenged. Not with words. With actions. Put in effort. Try hard. Make me feel like you actually want this relationship to work. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she left the apartment. I didn't follow her. Didn't text to ask where she was going. Didn't worry about whether she'd come back. If love was supposed to be effortless, then so was letting go. Rachel came back 3 hours later. She'd been to her best friend's place. I gathered from the context clues. She didn't tell me this directly. Just mentioned that Hannah thought I was being unreasonable. Hannah doesn't live in our relationship, I said. She thinks you're holding a grudge. I'm holding a boundary, I corrected. There's a difference. Rachel sat down across from me. What do you want from me? I want you to want to try, I said simply. Not because I'm making you. Not because you feel guilty. But because you actually value what we have enough to fight for it. And if I don't? The question was soft, almost scared. Then we have our answer, I said. If putting effort into us feels like too much work, if making me feel valued and cared for is trying too hard, then yeah, maybe we're not meant to be. She flinched at her own words being reflected back. You're really going to throw away 3 years over this? I'm not throwing anything away, I said. You're the one who said it might not be worth the effort. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? She wiped at her face. I just wanted you to stop making me feel inadequate. And there it was again. The core issue. Your feelings of inadequacy aren't my responsibility to fix, I said gently. Especially not by diminishing myself. If you feel like you're not putting in enough effort, the solution is to put in more effort, not to ask me to put in less. I know, she whispered. I know that now. Do you? She looked up at me, mascara smudged, looking more vulnerable than I'd seen her in months. I've been taking you for granted, Rachel admitted. I got comfortable. Lazy. I let you do all the work and convinced myself it was your personality, not my failing. It was the most honest she'd been in a long time. And now? I asked. Now I don't know how to fix it. You start trying, I said. Hard. You show up. You put in effort. You make me feel like I matter to you. What if I mess it up? Then you mess it up, I said. But at least you'll be trying. At least I'll know you care enough to fail. Rachel nodded slowly. Can we start over? We can start from here, I corrected. I'm not erasing the last 3 years. But we can build something better going forward. She reached across the table, tentative. I took her hand. It felt like a beginning. Or an ending. Time would tell which. The next morning, Rachel got up before me. When I walked into the kitchen, coffee was already made. 2 cups. She looked up from her phone, nervous. I made your coffee how you like it. 2 sugars, splash of cream. I took the cup, took a sip. It's perfect. Thank you. Her smile was uncertain, but genuine. Over the following days, I watched Rachel try. She planned a dinner date at a restaurant she'd researched. Made a point to ask about my day and actually listen to the answer. Suggested we spend Saturday at a street fair she'd seen advertised. Small things, but consistent things. I didn't immediately reward every effort with enthusiasm. Didn't make it easy for her. I was polite, agreeable, but I kept my emotional cards close. She needed to learn that effort wasn't a transaction. You don't put in work to get immediate returns. You do it because you care. 2 weeks into Rachel's new approach, we were getting ready for the street fair she'd planned. She came out of the bedroom wearing a sundress I'd complimented months ago. You remembered I like this dress, I said. She blushed slightly. I remember a lot of things you've said. I just haven't been showing it. At the fair, Rachel held my hand. Not because I reached for hers first. She initiated. She pointed out things she thought I'd like. A booth selling vintage vinyl records. A food truck with Korean barbecue tacos she knew I'd been wanting to try. We stopped at a jewelry stand where a local artist was selling handmade pieces. Rachel picked up a simple leather bracelet with a silver clasp. This would look good on you, she said. You think? She bought it before I could protest. Fastened it around my wrist herself. There. Now you have something to remember today. It was thoughtful. Sweet. Exactly the kind of gesture I used to make for her all the time. I kissed her forehead. Thank you. She beamed. We walked through the fair, ate overpriced but delicious food, listened to a local band play covers in the park. It felt like old times. Like the beginning, but with an undercurrent of awareness that hadn't been there before. That night, Rachel brought up something I wasn't expecting. I've been thinking about therapy, she said. We were on the couch, her feet in my lap, my hand absent-mindedly rubbing her ankle. Individual or couples? Both, maybe. I think I need to figure out why I self-sabotage. Why I push away when things are good. I looked at her, surprised by the insight. I think that's a good idea. Will you do couples therapy with me? If you think it'll help, yes. She shifted, sitting up to face me directly. I don't want to lose you. And I almost did because I was too proud to admit I was the problem. It's not about blame, I said. It's about patterns. We both have them. You weren't the problem, Rachel insisted. I was. You were showing up, trying, caring. And I made you feel bad for it. You felt inadequate, I said. That's valid. But how I handled it wasn't. I pulled her closer. No, it wasn't. But you're handling it better now. She rested her head on my shoulder. I'm scared I'll slip back into old habits. Probably will sometimes, I admitted. I might go back to protecting myself too much. We're both learning. Promise you'll call me out if I start taking you for granted again? Promise you won't accuse me of trying too hard when I put in effort? She laughed softly. Deal. We sat like that for a while, comfortable silence settling around us. The following Monday, Rachel sent me a text around noon. Just thinking about you. Hope your meeting went well. A small thing, but it mattered. I replied, thanks. It did. Hope your day's going okay too. Rachel, better now. Want to try that new Thai place for dinner? Me, you planning another date? Rachel, trying to. Is it working? Me, yeah, it's working. That evening, at the Thai restaurant, Rachel asked about my bookshelf project. How's it coming along? Almost done. Just need to apply the final coat of varnish. Can I help? I raised an eyebrow. You want to help me refinish furniture? I want to be part of your life, she said. Even the parts that don't directly involve me. You have hobbies and interests, and I've been so checked out. I barely know what you do when I'm not around. It's pretty boring, I warned. Lots of standing around waiting for things to dry. Then we'll stand around together. She meant it. That weekend, Rachel came out to the garage where I was working, wearing old clothes, hair tied back, ready to help. I showed her how to apply the varnish in smooth, even strokes. We worked side by side, painting the wood, watching it transform. This is actually kind of meditative, Rachel said after a while. That's why I like it. Clears my head. What do you think about while you do this? I considered the question. Usually, how to solve problems at work. Sometimes I plan out conversations I need to have. Recently, I've been thinking about us. What about us? Whether we can actually fix this, I admitted. Or if we're just delaying the inevitable. Rachel's hand stilled on the brush. Do you think it's inevitable? I don't know, I said honestly. I think we have a shot if we both keep showing up. But it's going to take more than a few good weeks. I know. She went back to painting. For what it's worth, Rachel said quietly, I don't think it's inevitable. I think we got comfortable and stopped trying. Both of us, in different ways. How did I stop trying? She thought about it. You stopped telling me when I hurt you. You just absorbed it and kept going. That's not fair either. I hadn't considered that. You're right. So we both work on it, Rachel said. You tell me when I'm being shitty. I stop being shitty. Everyone wins. I smiled despite myself. That's simple, huh? Probably not. But we can try. There was that word again. Try. A month passed. Rachel started therapy. We went to couples counseling twice. Our therapist, a woman named Dr. Chun, called us out on our patterns immediately. You, she said, pointing at me, have a tendency to overfunction. To do more than your share because it's easier than dealing with conflict. Then to Rachel, and you underfunction. You let him carry the load because he's willing to, then resent him for making you look bad by comparison. Harsh but fair, Rachel muttered. The goal, Dr. Chun continued, is to find equilibrium. He needs to let things fail sometimes. You need to step up before they do. It was hard work. Harder than either of us expected. I had to actively stop myself from solving problems before Rachel had a chance to try. Rachel had to push through her discomfort and take initiative. But slowly, things started to shift. Our apartment developed a new rhythm. Rachel did the grocery shopping on Thursdays. I cooked dinner most nights, but she planned the meals. We took turns choosing weekend activities. Some of hers were great. Some were duds. I learned to let the duds happen without stepping in to save the day. Rachel learned to laugh when her plans fell apart instead of getting defensive. 3 months after our initial fight, we were lying in bed on a Sunday morning. Rachel's head on my chest, my fingers running through her hair. Can I ask you something? She said. Always. Do you think you'll ever trust me again? Fully. I thought about it. I think I'm getting there. Trust is built in small moments. You're building it back. But it's not the same as before. No, I admitted. It's not. Before, I trusted blindly. Now I trust with awareness. I see your effort. I appreciate it. But I'm also watching to make sure it lasts. That's fair, Rachel said softly. I don't expect you to forget what happened. I don't want to hold it over you forever either, I said. At some point, I need to let it go and trust that you've changed. Have I changed enough? You're changing, I said. That's what matters. You're not the same person who told me I was trying too hard. And I'm not the same person who accepted that without pushing back. She propped herself up to look at me. You've changed too. I've learned to advocate for myself, I said. To not sacrifice my needs to keep the peace. That's growth. Rachel kissed me softly. I love you. I love you too. Even when I'm being difficult. Especially then, I said. Because you're difficult less often now. She laughed and swatted my chest. We stayed in bed for another hour, talking about nothing and everything. It felt effortless, not because we weren't trying, but because the trying had become natural. 6 months after the initial confrontation, we had a setback. Rachel forgot my birthday. Not completely. She remembered the day of, around lunchtime, when her mom texted to ask if we were doing anything special. But there was no plan, no gift, no card. She came home from work panicked, apologetic, immediately defensive. I've been so busy with the product launch, I completely lost track of. Rachel, I interrupted. I'm sorry, I know this is exactly the kind of thing I said I'd work on. Rachel, I said again, firmer. She stopped. It's okay. No, it's not. I should have remembered. I should have. It's okay, I repeated. You messed up. It happens. We're human. She looked at me like I was setting a trap. You're not mad. I'm disappointed, I said honestly. Birthdays matter to me. You know that. I know. But you're not the same person who would have blown this off a year ago. You forgot because you're stressed, not because you don't care. There's a difference. Rachel's eyes filled with tears. I really am sorry. I know. So make it up to me. How? Plan something for next weekend. Something you know I'll enjoy. Put thought into it. Show me that even when you drop the ball, you pick it back up. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I can do that. The following Saturday, Rachel surprised me with a day trip to a vintage car show 2 hours away. She knew I'd been in a classic car since high school. We spent the day walking through rows of beautifully restored vehicles, talking to owners, eating fair food. It wasn't my birthday, but it was better. It was her showing up even after failing. That meant more than getting it right the first time ever could. On the drive home, Rachel said, "Thank you for giving me a chance to fix it." "Thank you for actually fixing it," I replied. "I'm going to mess up again," she warned. "I know. So will I. But as long as we keep fixing it, we're okay." She reached over and took my hand. We drove home in comfortable silence. A year after our initial fight, we were having dinner at that restaurant I'd canceled the reservation for. Rachel had booked it herself as an anniversary surprise. "1 year since you stopped trying too hard," she said, raising her wine glass. "1 year since you started trying at all," I countered. She laughed. "Fair." We clinked glasses. "Seriously though," Rachel said, "I know this year has been hard. Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for not giving up on us." "Do you think we're good now?" she asked. "Like, actually good?" I considered the question. "I think we're better. Stronger. More honest. But not perfect. Perfect is boring," I said. "I'll take real over perfect any day." Rachel smiled. "Me too." We finished our dinner, walked home through the city streets, hand in hand. Back at our apartment, I noticed something. The bookshelf I'd refinished was in the living room, filled with books we'd collected together. Rachel's succulents on the top shelf. My vintage camera collection on the second. Our travel photos mixed in throughout. A physical representation of our lives merging. "You moved the bookshelf in here," I said. "I wanted to see it every day," Rachel said. "Reminder that good things take effort. That trying hard isn't a weakness." I pulled her close. "You really have changed." We both have. And we had. Not perfectly. Not without stumbling. But consistently. Deliberately. Together. The irony wasn't lost on me. Rachel had said love should feel effortless. That if it took this much work, maybe we weren't meant to be. But the thing about effortless love is that it doesn't exist. Or rather, it exists as a feeling, not a fact. Love can feel effortless when both people are putting in equal effort. When the trying becomes so natural, so integral to who you are together, that it stops feeling like work. That's what we'd found. Not love without effort, but love where the effort felt worth it. Where trying hard wasn't a burden, but a choice we both made every day. I'd stopped trying to prove that to Rachel. Stopped trying to make her see what we could be. And in that space, she found her own reasons to try. Not because I demanded it. Not because she felt guilty. But because she realized what she'd lose if she didn't. The stability disappeared when I stopped providing it unilaterally. The care evaporated when I stopped offering it without reciprocation. And in that absence, Rachel finally understood what she'd had. What she'd nearly thrown away. What she needed to fight for. We still have hard days. Moments when old patterns try to reassert themselves. Times when I overfunction or Rachel underfunctions. But now we catch it. Call it out. Correct course. Last week, I found myself planning an entire weekend without asking Rachel's input. She noticed before I even realized I was doing it. "Hey," she said gently. "You're taking over again." I stopped, looked at the list I'd been making. "You're right. Sorry. What do you want to do this weekend?" "I was thinking we could check out that new art gallery downtown." Then maybe brunch at that place with the good pancakes. Sounds perfect. Small moments. Small corrections. That's how you build something that lasts. Not through grand gestures or perfect execution, but through consistent, mutual effort. Through trying hard together. Through caring deeply, even when it's difficult. Especially when it's difficult. Rachel was wrong when she said love should feel effortless. But she wasn't wrong to want it to feel natural. The difference is in understanding that natural effort exists. That the best relationships are the ones where both people try hard, care deeply, and make it look easy because they're both pulling the same direction. We found that, not by me trying harder, not by Rachel trying less, but by me stepping back and letting her realize what she'd lose if I did. By letting the stability disappear. By letting her feel the absence of someone willing to care deeply. And by giving her the space to choose to care back. That's the story. Not a fairy tale. Not a tragedy. Just two people learning that love is a verb, not a feeling. That effort is a gift, not a burden. And that sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is stop doing everything and let them decide if they want to do anything at all. Rachel decided she did. And that made all the difference.